This call is
Say
now being
something more.
recorded.
There's still an echo.
There's an echo.
Put it on. Put the earphones on.
Is it better now?
Hello. Yeah, it's
Hello.
still echoing from our end. I don't know why. Have you put the other ones on mute?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I guess we will have to deal. कौशल एक बार म्यूट करना. हेलो अभी ठीक है. Ritika, unmute yourself. Ritika, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Is it fine now?
Yeah. Fine, then let's do one thing. You talk from your end and mute once the second you're done. Because otherwise it'll start echoing for everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we can't wait more than this, so no problem. Okay. You can mute yourself for now.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Atrey, I can see. Rashika, I cannot see you. Is your camera on? Yeah, it's on. Great. Okay. Fine. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the semi-final round for Science Day debate. Today we have with us my friend Kaushal Jagesha, who will be judging this debate with me today. And welcome to all the people who have come to spectate this event. Today we have the team proposition, that is Ritika and Achintya. And we have the team opposition, that is Atrei and Rashika. Okay. So the topic for this debate was already told to you guys. It is about urban upbringing and how it will affect your genes, and if it's got an impact or not on it. And we have two sides, team proposition and opposition. To just quickly go over the rules of this debate, we'll be following a 363 timestamp, which means that each team will get 3 minutes to give an introduction. So in this case, the first introduction will be given by Ritika, followed by Rashika, and after which we'll be having a 6 minute rebuttal where the first question will be asked by team opposition and then by team proposition, and so on and so forth. The concluding speeches would be first given by team opposition, that is Atrei, followed by Achintya. So that is how the debate is going to flow for today. In addition to this, I would request all the participants to make sure that they don't keep their questions longer than 15 seconds in the rebuttal round, and you don't keep your answers longer than 30 seconds in a rebuttal round, just so that we can ensure that the rebuttal is free flowing. This rebuttal round will not be moderated as much as it was being moderated yesterday. I will not be interfering every 5 minutes telling you to ask the next question. I expect everyone to do it on them by themselves and move the debate forward. If me and Kaushal feel that the debate is going in a productive way, we may extend the rebuttal round by a minute or two at the most. So that is how this debate is going to flow. In addition to that, I think that is all for the debate. Good luck to you all, and I hope you have fun debating. So I think with that, Kaushal, can we start the debate?
Yes, I just wanted to say it's very nice to see the FEs for the first time. I haven't really gotten to interact with any of them. I'm Kaushal Jagesha, Deputy Head of the VESlit Circle this year. And I just wanted to tell you all, before we begin with the debate, I just wanted to give one small tip. This is something that I've learned with my experience. Whenever we have timestamps, whenever we can see the time in front of us, please make use of it. When I say make use of it, I say it in the sense that I always tended to underestimate the time I have in my hand. I would rush through my speeches and always finish before time. And that's not really, it gives a fair advantage to the opposition. So ensure you utilize your time to the best of the value there is. Good luck for the debate. I hope the spectators have a good show to see.
Yeah, and I would also recommend all the spectators to please keep themselves on mute. Go ahead, enjoy the debate, learn from it, but just keep yourself on mute, okay? And preferably don't turn on your cameras because it may disturb someone else at the debate. So I think with that, thanks Kaushal for the tip. Now we will go ahead and start this debate. So we have the first speech by team proposition. So can I have the first speaker of team proposition?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Hello, is my voice audible to everybody?
Yes.
So I'll start. Good afternoon, everybody. My team is going to present that the urban upbringing can alter how genes influence one's brain. Human brain development is created through continuing complex interactions of genetic and environmental influences. It is not just the genes, also the environment plays an important role in shaping our brain architecture. The challenge of linking specific genetic or environmental factors to typical or atypical behavior has led to interest in using brain structural features as an intermediate phenotype. According to the new IRP research, being raised in an urban environment can drastically alter how the genes can influence your brain. Despite the misconception that genes are just inherited and they won't change from the outside, from any external pressure or anything, research shows that an early experiences can determine how genes are turned on and off, even whether some of them are expressed or even when they are not expressed at all. So the experiences that the children have in the urban upbringing are very different as compared to the rural upbringing. People in urban areas have more access to people of different backgrounds. They can interact with people who have different thought processes. They may not agree with them, they might agree with them, but they always get some constructive feedback, or they can have a different thought process other than the people who live in rural areas where everybody almost has the same thinking. And also parents influence your upbringing a lot. So the urban parents, as you may know, are a little more bit more liberal than those who are in the rural areas. Also, I would like to say that children inherit almost 23,000 genes from their parents, but it may not be that every gene is going to help them, or it is going to necessarily be inherited. It can also come from various other experiences. So, I think that these experiences can have a temporary or permanent impact on the child's behavior and his upbringing throughout his life. So, and also statistics conducted by the JNU in Delhi and by AIMS, it was noted that the IQ of the urban children was 20 points in lead as compared to those from the rural ones. So I think that the urban upbringing is going to positively impact is going to positively impact the behavior of the people in the near future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, team proposition, for your speech. We'll now be moving to the speech by team opposition. Can I have this first speaker from team opposition with their speech?
Can I start? Am I audible?
Yes, you can start.
Does urban upbringing alter how genes influence one's brains? Does the social environment have any effect on your brain? Well, brain development is a complex event that begins during the third week of gestation and continues throughout your lifespan. Now, is it true that the genes that we inherit from our parents can be altered? Well, we don't think so. A child's upbringing can't affect what he grows to be or how his brain functions. Genes are inherited by children. Whether it's rural upbringing or urban upbringing, it cannot change the genetic information. Infants and young children of mother with depression are more likely to use variety of acute healthcare services. No matter how cheerful and joyful people are around them, when they grow up, there'll be a hint of depression in their behavior. And it might happen that later on in life, it can become a dominant trait too. Some traits like IQ or criminal tendency are more affected by your DNA and the upbringing that you get from your parents does not have a significant effect on it. Let's take an example. maybe in rural area there's a hardworking farmer, and he has a child who inherits his genes and traits such as hard work and determination. Now he's living in the rural area, so we think that he'll go towards the agricultural sector. But with geo digitalizing India, it might happen that he uses the internet, searches more, gets some certified course, and actually goes into software engineering, and later on in life can become a software engineer in most reputed companies. Here he was surrounded by rural cultures and people with very conservative background, yet with the help of internet he went forward and created a different future for himself.
Is that it from your end?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, team opposition. We will now be beginning with the rebuttal round. Niti, you can keep a timer for 6 minutes. Thank you. Okay.
Can we ask the question?
Yeah, just a second. So we'll now have the rebuttal round. I would like to have the first question by team opposition. You have the floor. You may ask your first question.
Yeah. So, the proposition house said that IRP has made some reports that urban living can, lead people to, grow more and get more opportunities. So how is that in many IITs or in Massachusetts University of Technology and Harvard, there are many people who come from rural areas. How is that possible?
That's due to sheer hard work. That's something that's not dependent on how your upbringing is. It's your characteristic traits that is hard work basically. So and plus
Doesn't your character?
there is a scholarship for Harvard and Massachusetts. So only meritorious students are favored over there. Money doesn't get you anywhere. So I can't see where you're going with this point.
You said characteristics. Doesn't characteristic get from your genes? Do you not get your characteristics from your genes? That is
Characteristics
what your genes actually. Yeah, what?
characteristics are not coming from your genes, they're coming from your experiences. Like Rashika said, genes cannot be altered. True, they cannot be altered, but there are two forms of genes, recessive and dominant. Your experiences decide whether your gene will become a recessive one or a dominant one. A black and a white couple could have a black child because the dominant gene is the black couple's color, black father's color. So there's recessive and dominant genes.
Also, I would like to add that if a person from the rural areas is getting into the top colleges, he might also be inspired by somebody who was in his area. It might not be inherited, but he saw the hard work that the person did to reach those colleges. So maybe he was influenced by it somehow and he got that motivation from it.
Maybe adding. Okay, so I wanted to say that maybe his or her father is hardworking. Like Rashika said, that their father is that person's father is a farmer. Hard work is there in its genes, there in their genes, in this person's genes. Then why is like, of course, hard work got him into MIT and IITs and all.
Hard work is not gene dominating. Say a person who came from a very poor background. All right, I'm not stating what type of upbringing. This is I'm saying poor background. All right, he could have worked hard, and he could have built a fortune for himself, a big lavish house, a big business, six-figure accounts, and everything. But his son, there's a very massive chance that it will be a spoiled rich kid that will think very highly of himself. So there's no gene characteristic of hard work. It's a quality that you inherit from your surroundings, your experiences.
Okay, so can I ask one more question?
Yeah, you can go ahead and ask as long as the other team doesn't have a question for you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that you're saying that urbanization can alter the genes, then why is it like that the psychological diseases that people get are mostly inherited from their parents, like depression, like schizophrenia, all these kind of diseases? Why is it always like that?
Lack of mental health awareness, and general knowledge of how to counter these problems is what causes these issues. It's not gene specific. And Rashika said that, to counter your point, Rashika said that depressed mothers in rural environment are more specific to have bad kids, criminal type kids. So what do you mean to say? Urban mothers are generally more happy than rural mothers. They don't have
No, I
to
didn't
think about.
mention rural there. Rural point came later on. First, I just said that mothers with depression can give birth to infants who might grow up to be depressed later on in life.
Yes, yes. So a rural
Yes,
mother
so
has a high chance.
there was no rural and urban in that.
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
would.
no, no. Rural mothers have a high chance to be depressed because they have to think about issues like without toilet defecation, open area defecation, and uh, issues such as period awareness, which that movie
I would. I would
Paradise
like to.
was made upon. These issues are modern urban women doesn't have to face.
Yeah, I would like to add a point that,
And
as
plus,
you
the
said, that schizophrenia, like it can be inherited, but actually there is no report as such that schizophrenia can be inherited directly. It can also happen at any age. It might not be from your genes. It might be. I mean, we don't know how it might be, but it is not necessarily that it will always be from the genes.
Plus, there is healthcare in modern urban areas where the mother will be
I
able to.
totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree that schizophrenia is not always heritable, but 79% of schizophrenia cases come from inheritance. This is the data that is provided
So depression
by
is
Okay,
more
different
like.
kind of
I just want to cut it off here. I'll just cut it off here. Kaushal, do you mind if we take one question from team proposition for team opposition? And yeah, okay, we can extend it by 2 minutes also. It's fine, Nidhi. You don't need to keep a timer. We'll just see this. Team proposition, I want you to ask a question to team opposition and keep it a sentence short at the most. Okay? Can I have the question by team proposition?
So you said depression. You mentioned about depression. Depression is not like cancer that takes a long time, a very long, long time to cure. You seek help from professionals and they help you. Something that a rural mother will not be able to afford, nor will she able to get those services. An urban mother can just go in any hospital. There will be a psychologist in that hospital due to laws, medical laws that colleges and hospitals have to abide by.
but till now actually this is not happening, and again there is no urban upbringing due to that because they are not going to any hospitals, so there is no literal urban upbringing.
As you said depressed mothers are more prone to give uh, depressed children who have depressed mothers are more prone to commit crimes, fall into bad nature. So that is upbringing, right? Upbringing from a bad parent, say an alcoholic dad. An alcoholic dad is as damaging as a depressed mother. So your upbringing in an urban environment, there is significantly low chances of having an alcoholic dad, someone who's addicted to alcohol. Sure, you might have a dad who drinks alcohol, but he may not be an alcoholic who would come home every night and beat you up with broken glass bottle shards and, you know, be very violent to you.
Okay, that's it for the rebuttal. I think, Kaushal, can we call it towards an end?
Yes, Neha.
Okay, great. So now we'll have the first speech by team opposition. So can I have the first speaker by team opposition with their speech? I think you can time this speech. Yeah, thank you.
Conclusion, right? Yeah, okay. Shall I start? Actor Robert Downey Jr. opened up about his past struggles with drugs in an appearance of David Letterman's talk show. He said, on certain occasions, he had to be revived from a near coma to shoot scenes. Back then, when I was a kid, doing that, you could say that it was fun, but it was pretty stressful too. This free Iron Man life of Downey we have all read and heard about. This particular behavior of him did not only come because of upbringing by his dad, where I respect the opposition, where I respect the proposition's opinions only on this matter, but also a genetic factor inherited by him, the depression. The bangle makers of Firozabad are not abroad like that. Many parents tell their children to leave this family tradition, but they don't have any other qualities in them. They only know bangle making, which they inherited from their family. So urban upbringing cannot really alter how genes influence one's brain. The biology of one's body will always dominate a child's characteristics, be it education or be it any other skills. Like some traits like IQ or criminal traits, these come from gene directly. Schizophrenia, as I said in the rebuttal round, it's also inherited from genes. It's 79% heritable. And yeah, so that's why we think that urban upbringing cannot alter genes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, team opposition. We'll have the last speech by team proposition.
Urban upbringing is not at all bad as my opponents here try to make it. Upbringing and genes, dominating or recessive, depend on the parents. A bad parent will lead to a badly damaged, mentally and physically kid, even if he or she has supreme genetics. It's the experience that decides how the brain functions in different scenarios. These experiences are far very good and positive in an urban environment. The studies do show that an urban environment is very helpful in the child's early academic career and later on in the jobs. A holistic and sound development is almost guaranteed in an urban environment. Greater diversity in cities allows for a far bigger field of view for vision and ideas. Genes cannot define a person's character as much as his experience. The bitter push each other down. Good food ensures a good life. To end my address, I would like to quote James Jacobs, famous psychologist. Dull, inert cities do contain the seeds of their own destruction, but lively, diverse, intense cities contain the seed of their own regeneration with enough energy to carry over for problems and needs outside their walls. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, team proposition, for your speech. That brings us to the end of this debate. We officially close the debate. Can someone stop recording and the timer? Nidhi? Yeah. Who is actually recording it?
Yeah, I'm recording the debate.
Yeah, you can stop recording.
Okay.
Okay, so great debate, guys. Before we go and